And I would like to have your opinion and also Armin's opinion before we move on to the regulatory side, which is obviously, if you look at Asia and you see that there are a lot of emerging markets that are still dealing with the possibility of online gaming, and when you have such key players voicing very strongly against online gaming, and obviously when they have a presence here in Asia and they somehow are seen as a role model in terms of gaming industry, you think that will have an impact in the development of online gaming in Asia? In other words, will iGaming ever be developed as an Asian gaming industry?
I think this discussion should be separated in what effectively is commercially of interest to the gentlemen that are basically opposing it versus what is from a regulatory point of view, you know, the preferred solution. Clearly, I don't think it's going to be positive. There's no doubt about it. I mean, if Sheldon Adelson with all his power is effectively going to go absolutely against iGaming, it's going to have an impact. There's no doubt about it. Is he going to be able to stop it? I doubt it. Is he able to, you know, slow it down in the US? For sure. Is he able to throw up the roadblocks? Absolutely. Is it something that's really well thought out? Not sure. There's a lot of proxy gaming going on here. The amount of money that, for example, these properties make and the money that actually they don't make because of proxy gaming and the money that still goes around with regards to a lot of the junket actions that can be taken anywhere, they actually should be jumping on the bandwagon in order to regulate it proper, in order to therefore enlarge, let's say, their influence. So I don't think you can turn the tide. Europe has proven that. And I actually think that iGaming is a very positive development in many areas of people getting more acquainted with gaming and feel more comfortable with it. You know, when they go to the casinos, they certainly become more experienced. So I think, you know, it's short-sighted. I think it's going to have an impact. And I sincerely regret that the industry as a whole doesn't speak better with one voice based on argument, facts, and let's say experiences in many other places, why we shouldn't back iGaming proper.
Bob?
Well, I think it's a cultural and an economic issue, and I use Macau as an example we were talking about earlier. There's a massive amount of construction still going on here on the Cotai Strip. All you have to do is look out the window, and I mean, just a lot of additional construction. And so clearly, I'm not surprised at all that there isn't any focus on iGaming here in Macau, because the land-based industry is still building like crazy. And I think that until the land-based industry is completely built up, that I just don't see any, from an economic perspective, why would you have any iGaming? In most jurisdictions, the iGaming picks up because the government is looking for additional sources of revenue. In a lot of jurisdictions, that's what, most certainly in the States, that's exactly what's happening, is they're looking for additional sources of revenue. And it tends to happen after the land-based industry has been built up. Now, having said that, I will also say that the next generation, the 20-somethings now, with the internet and the impact of the internet, the acceptability of iGaming is much greater. That's where most of the players are, at least in the West, is at, you know, the 20 and 30-somethings, not the 50-year-olds. And so I think that as the 20-year-olds continue to mature and the next generation comes up, the focus on iGaming will continue to increase, and it kind of matches the completion of the building cycle for brick and mortar. So I think that's an economic and cultural issue that will merge together over the next 10 or 15 years.
I completely agree, but that is why it should be happening much faster, because effectively we're telling all the young kids that, you know, are online anyhow, you know, as we had to fight, let's say, the anti-copying, et cetera, guys, you know, it's okay if you're, you know, active in the gray area.
Yeah, and it's the social gaming, and all the social gaming is going on now, which is all freebie, but the kids are all doing it. They're all using it, so you know, it's quick, and they can do it wherever they are, and that's that next generation.
So obviously the next question is, how are regulators around the world looking at this new reality, and what can be done and what criteria has to be fulfilled in order to make the industry more credible around the world?
Thank you, and thank you for the invitation to be here today, Rosalind. And a couple of points I'd like to pick up on before I talk about regulation. One is that Bob remarked that most regulators are ex-policemen. I'm not an ex-policeman. And I come from Norfolk Island, where the sky is bluer than the canal shops here at the Venetian. It's a perfect little world, and you should visit it sometime. In terms of gaming, Norfolk Island as a gaming regulator has been in the business since 1998. It's nicely regulated. It works very closely with its licensed operators. The online activities are easily, probably better monitored than your terrestrial activities. And as Bob remarked, you can trace the funds, you can trace your players, you know exactly who's online and who's betting, who's using their own accounts and who's using somebody else's account. So in terms of regulation, it's a lovely model. In terms of jurisdictional issues, well, they have been covered broadly in terms of the world, but the main issue for gaming regulators or for jurisdictions entering into the market is the mobile technology. That's where the bulk of our players are, using mobiles. They're not at home, they're on their mobile technology. And being mobile technology, it's easily controlled as far as regulation goes. So in terms of a jurisdiction being able to properly regulate an industry, you can quite quickly look at jurisdictions like Norfolk Island, the Isle of Man,